intermediaries. You might have a little bit of background noise today because pretty much stuck on the road and doing the class, so please manage for today. But I will be sharing my screen, so let's hope you guys can view what my screen is. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Let me use Jamboard so that. So when we talk about intermediaries in general, we already know there are two types of markets, right? Securities market can be divided into two types. One is your primary market and the other is your secondary market. Do you guys recollect what is the difference between primary and secondary?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Primary market is mainly for
Security.
What is
Security creation.
Okay. Primary market is mainly related to issue of securities when the securities are created for the first time. So usually the transaction is between the company and the stock exchange along with the primary market intermediary, which we will discuss today. So these are the three major parties involved in the primary market. On the other hand, in the secondary market, pre-issued securities which are already created, those securities are going to be traded. So here the transaction is not involved between the company and the primary market intermediaries. Here there is no company involvement. Here it's only traders along with the stock exchange. And instead of primary market intermediaries, we're going to have secondary market intermediaries involved in this market. So instead of the company being involved in the primary market, we have traders being involved in the secondary market. That is one of the bigger differences. When we talk about traders in general, traders are those people who either want to buy the security or sell it. Usually people buy a security expecting the price to fall or expecting the price to rise. What do you guys think? You want expectation of price increase. Buyers are under the category of bull. Almost all buyers of direct securities, I'm not talking about derivative contracts or ESOPs or all the other securities which we discussed in the last class. I'm just talking direct security purchase. So let's say you want to buy Infosys directly and you feel that Infosys is going to go up. You're expecting a price to rise, so you're considered to be a bull. And if you're planning to sell the securities, you're expecting the price to fall. So usually you're considered as a bear. These are the two types of traders in the market. People who usually buy a security expecting a price rise and sell the securities expecting a fall in the price of security. Now this logic is quite different for the derivative market. Now we have already seen that the entire securities market can be divided into shares, debt instruments, and other securities. And in debt instruments, we have already seen three varieties, and in the shares, we have already seen two varieties. When we talk about other securities, though, there are derivatives, and there are something called as hybrid securities. So we didn't talk about hybrid securities yet, so let's discuss about that. Hybrid securities are those securities which usually combine the features of other pre-existing securities, which are already traded in the securities market. So if you look at the nature of securities, you'd either have securities in the nature of equity, securities in the nature of preference, and securities in the nature of debt instruments. These are usually the type of securities. And some securities also derive value from others, so we can call them as derivatives. Now imagine you add a debt instrument feature like interest and then combine it with the feature of a derivative, which gives you the option to back out. So when you combine the features of two different securities, whether it is equity and preference, or preference and debt, or debt and derivative, or equity and derivative, such securities are called as hybrid securities. A classic example of this, though not in your syllabus, is a deep discount bond. Now, usually you would know that bonds carry what type of interest? There are two types of interest for bonds. What are they?
Fixed and floating.
Right? Now, imagine you don't get any interest at all, but it is still a bond. But instead of issuing a bond at 100 rupees and maturing it at 110 after 3 years and paying an interest of 10%, this is a typical bond, right? Fixed rate of interest, fixed maturity period, fixed premium on maturity. Instead of this, imagine you issue a bond at a discount. So a 100 rupee bond will be issued not just at a nominal discount, they will be issued at a very deep discount. For example, at 60 rupees, you will purchase the bond, but you will not get any interest at all. And instead of interest on maturity, you will get 100 rupees. So the 40 rupees difference is your interest component. Apart from this, no other interest will be paid. Such a bond, which doesn't carry any interest, but does give you a good premium on investment, is a classic example of a hybrid security. Because usually bonds carry interest, but you take out the interest component, but you give them a large premium on maturity. You give them capital appreciation, just like an equity share, right? So such a combination where you combine the feature of capital appreciation from an equity share, you take out the feature from a bond like interest, and then you combine and issue a security. Such a security is called as a deep discount. Such securities are now removed from your syllabus, so you don't have to worry too much about them, but they do exist in the capital markets, and whenever any company wants to issue such a hybrid security, usually the company will call a board meeting first, take the approval of the board of directors through a board resolution. Then they will convene a general meeting, and since it is a very special type of securities, usually such securities require a special resolution. Now, Companies Act wise, there is a common process that you can remember for issue of any securities, whether it is in Companies Act, SBEC, or capital markets. So you always have to convene a board meeting first, irrespective of what you're doing in any subject. If you're a company, you first have to discuss the matter in the board meeting. Then in that board meeting, you pass a board resolution. Always remember, board resolution requires simple majority, which means more than 1/2 of the votes should be cast in favor of the resolution. Such a type of resolution is a resolution requiring simple majority. So in a board meeting, you call all the board of directors. Usually, a company has how many directors maximum? Any guesses? In general, no recollection at all. Usually, a company would generally have 15 directors maximum, and at a minimum, an OPC will have one director, a private company will have two directors, and a public company will have three directors. But our subject deals with what type of companies? OPCs, private or public?
Public.
What do you guys think? Public. Our subject only deals with one type of public company, which is listed company. Other public limited companies are unlisted, which we don't bother about in our syllabus at all. For unlisted companies, you study company law and SDs. But for listed companies, you study other things. So a public company usually has at least 3 directors, which means when you convene the board meeting, you have to pass the board resolution with simple majority, right? That simple majority, if you only have 3 directors, would mean 2 out of 3 directors should agree for issuing these securities that we discussed today and in the previous book. Whenever a company issues a security, there has to be a board meeting followed by a board resolution. And since these securities are being issued, usually not to the existing shareholder. Whenever you issue new securities, not to existing shareholders, what type of issue would that be? Would it be a rights issue, bonus issue, preferential issue, or public issue?
Public issue. Rights issue.
No. Rights issue means you only give your securities to existing shareholders. And if you're issuing hybrid securities, it is usually a preferential issue. Preferential issue is also called as private placement. Right? Always remember, when you give preference to some people, the other shareholders will be happy or sad? What do you think?
Not happy.
Not happy? So in that case, should you ask them permission before giving the securities to only certain shareholders? Imagine, rather than teaching you guys, I was teaching the 3 students who joined today's class, and everybody else was not joined with the meeting, right? You will not be happy with that. Same way, whenever you give preference to certain shareholders and you don't issue securities to all your existing shareholders, you have to also pass a special resolution. So automatically, process becomes convene board meeting, pass board resolution with simple majority. Then you fix the date, time, and venue for the general meeting. And you have to finalize the notice for this general meeting. And whenever you issue securities like this, especially in our subject, you have hybrid securities and you're doing preferential or preferential, right? In such cases, you will always issue explanatory statement also. Because whenever you issue securities, it is automatically considered to be special business. Special business means there are usually 2 types of business: ordinary and special. Ordinary business is of 4 types. Ordinary business includes ADDA, which we can also call as Adda. Any business apart from that is considered to be a special business, which means what could be this Adda? A for account, D for dividend, D for directors, and A for auditors. Whenever the company issues securities, we are doing securities law, So most of our syllabus is involved in issue of security. So we are discussing primary market first. So whenever there is a primary market transaction, it is not an ordinary business. It is a special business. And there are only 4 types of ordinary business. What are they? Repeat it once again. A for
Account.
accounts. D for dividend.
Director.
Another D is for director. And last A is for auditor. Again, we are learning 3 subjects today because the impact of this class is going to be on 3 papers. This is going to affect your company law paper. This is going to affect your FDC paper. This is going to affect your SNCM paper also. What do you generally do with accounts? Company will prepare it, but shareholders should approve it. So A for approval of accounts. D for declaration of dividend. D for director's appointment. And A for auditor's appointment. These 4 are ordinary business. And this ordinary business can only be discussed in AGM. You cannot discuss this in EGM. So, if you really summarize all of these points, AGM has 2 types of business that you can discuss. What are they? Ordinary and
Special.
special. EGM, therefore, cannot discuss ordinary business, so you can only discuss special business. And whenever you discuss special business, you have to issue explanatory statement to your shareholders. Which means, if you go back to our process of issuing securities, we convene the board meeting, we pass board resolution, we fix the date, time, venue for our general meeting, we finalize notice. What business are we doing in our subject right now? What topic are we going to discuss with our shareholders?
Special business.
We are discussing special business, and what is the name of the business we are discussing?
Issue of securities.
We are going to issue securities, which automatically means, is this ordinary business or special business?
Special.
This is special business. And if it is special business, you require what statement? Explanatory statement along with the notice of general meeting you have to send. Clear? So if you create the actual process now in detail, you have first convene board meeting, pass board resolution, fix date, time, venue for general meeting, finalize the notice and explanatory statement. Then you ultimately convene the general meeting and you are going to pass what resolution?
Special resolution.
Ordinary or special?
Special resolution.
If I issue hybrid securities, special resolution. If I do preferential issue, special resolution. But if I do rights issue, then it is ordinary resolution. Okay? The nitty-gritty of this, obviously, you will learn in Companies Act far more in detail. But for now, most of the time, you are going to pass special resolution and you're only going to pass ordinary resolution if it is public issue or rights issue, and you're going to pass special resolution if it is preferential issue or bonus issue. This is an easy way to remember. And whenever you pass special resolution, you will file a form. The form is MGT 14. Forms you will learn in SBEC more in detail, but remember this form. The most important form in your entire syllabus is MGT 14. Whenever you pass a special resolution, you have to file form MGT 14. And whenever you issue securities and allot securities, you have to file form PAS 3. So the actual process for issuing securities is to convene board meeting, to pass board resolution. What majority resolution do you require in the board meeting?
Simple majority. So it's half.
And simple majority requires how many people to agree with this?
More than half.
More than half of the directors should agree with this resolution. Then you decide when do you need to call the general meeting. You finalize the notice and explanatory statement. All this is done in the board meeting itself. Once you're done with the board meeting, then you can call the general meeting. And in that general meeting, you're usually going to pass OR if it is public issue or rights issue. And you're going to pass SR if it is preferential issue or bonus issue. And then if you are passing SR, you also file form MGT 14. And irrespective of whether there is MGT 14 or not, for all the issue of securities, you still have to file form PAS 3. So there are two forms, and within how many days do you file these forms? MGT 14 you file within 30 days of the resolution, and PAS 3 you file within 30 days of allotment. And this is the process for issuing securities both under Companies Act as well as SLC. In SLCM, you have a few additional steps. You have to now take in principle approval from stock exchange. This is additional for our subject. Plus, you have to also then list the securities. And for these two things, you will take the help of primary market intermediaries along with help for deciding the price. At what price you should issue the securities, the primary market intermediaries will advise you. To help you in getting in principle approval from stock exchange, primary market intermediaries will advise you. And to list the securities also, the primary market intermediaries will help. So the only three steps you have to write in addition to your company law process is in SLCM. So SLCM always will have additional steps that you need to write with respect to any process that we're discussing. Are we clear with this process? You can take a screenshot if required.
So can you please explain the additional last three steps again?
So whenever you are issuing securities in our subject, since we are a listed company, we need to take additional approval from stock exchanges. We need to also list the securities. And we also need to decide the price as per SEBI regulation. And for these three things, we need to take the help of primary market intermediaries. These primary market intermediaries are not usually required if you are an unlisted company. But in our subject, we are a listed company. Therefore, we require the help of primary market intermediaries. Who are these primary market intermediaries? Let's also understand that. So when we say PMI, there are 5 primary market intermediaries. First is merchant banker. Second is registrar and share transfer agent. Third is banker to the issue. Fourth is underwriter to the issue. And the fifth is debenture trustee. These are your primary market intermediaries. Secondary market will probably have to discuss in the next class. But today, let's truly understand what is this entire issue of securities all about.
Sir, can you go again?
Your 5 primary market intermediaries are merchant banker, registrar and share transfer agent, banker to the issue,
You want to register?
share transfer agent. Third is banker to the issue. Fourth is underwriter. Fifth is debenture trust. These are the only 5 primary market intermediaries.
Sorry, sir, I still didn't get the second one. Registrar?
Registrar and share transfer agent. All right. Let's talk about each of their main functions. I'm going to only tell all of this in brief because we are still discussing the background to the subject. Once we are done with the background fully, we can start finishing each of the chapters in probably 1 class each. It's important to truly understand the structure before getting into each of their functions and processes. When we talk about merchant banker, we are mainly talking about the issue manager. A person who helps in issue management and issue advisory services, and also helps us in due diligence. Due diligence meaning ensuring that we are complying with all the laws. And he also helps us in deciding the price of securities. Such a person is called as a merchant banker. He's an issue manager. He's an issue advisor. He helps in due diligence. He also helps in determining the price of securities. Therefore, he is considered to be the most important primary market intermediary. RTA has actually 2 people, the registrar and share transfer agent. There are 2 people here. Usually, you can obtain a license together for both these services. Registrar is the person who issues the share certificate, who actually credits your securities in the demat account, who decides the allotment list, and who talks to the bank and the company simultaneously so that the allotment happens on time. So his main job is allotment as a registrar. So he issues the share certificate if it is physical. If it is electronic, he helps in crediting your demat account with the securities. He prepares the allotment list and he consistently communicates with the bank to ensure that the company has received the money and only then he will allot the securities. The share transfer agent, on the other hand, is not really a primary market intermediary. He is a secondary market intermediary. Once you have received these securities, he is the person who will help you in trading. and he will get you in touch with the broker. So he's your contact person who's going to make you speak with the broker, and once you have received your securities, if you want to sell them, the share transfer agent is the person you should contact. As the name suggests, his name is share transfer agent. So he will help you in share transfer. Transfer means it can be through sale, it can be through transmission, it can be through gift, it can be through a will, it can be through any method, but he is the person who will help you in receiving the securities and trading the securities. That is why he is combined together and he is called as a RTA. Bank, on the other hand, their only job is to receive the money on time. They are also responsible for refund. Any excess money, if it is there, they will refund it to you. And they will consistently talk with RTA to decide who's going to actually get the shares and who's not going to get the share. So the bank plays a very important role in the monetary aspect of the issue of security. So they receive the money, whatever checks you have sent, whatever DDs you have sent, they will collect it. They will transfer the money to the company's account. If you have sent extra money, they will refund. If you have sent less money, they will also refund. So all the receiving and refunding of money is done by the bank. Underwriter, on the other hand, will ensure minimum subscription. His job is to ensure that if there is a public issue of securities, and the nature of security is equity. What are the different types of securities you have learned that are related to equity? Can you recollect from the previous class? What are the three types of equity shares?
Ordinary shares, and spread shares.
Sweat equity, right? So, whenever you issue those three securities, and whenever you issue convertible securities meaning convertible preference share, convertible debenture, convertible bond, all such securities will eventually be converted into equity shares, right? Whenever a company issues such securities, the minimum subscription is 90%. I'll explain what this is separately. So a company issues 1,000 shares of 100 rupees each. Collected one. If you're issuing an equity share and planning to collect 1 lakh, you should at least collect 90% of this money from the intended security holder that you're planning to issue the securities to. So if you are issuing any securities in the nature of equity, there should be at least 90% demand for your securities. Otherwise, suppose you're planning to issue 1,000 shares of 100, you received share application only for 800 for 100 rupees. The total money collected is 80,000. Did you achieve 90% or not? Did you or
No. No, sir.
Therefore, in order to achieve 90%, how much more money is falling short of?
10,000.
That 10,000 will be brought in by the underwriter as mock applications. You would have done this problem in BCom probably, or second PU in accounts. That is the role of the underwriter. Whenever the company cannot generate sufficient demand for its shares or debentures, the balance amount that is required to reach the minimum subscription will be brought in by the underwriter. That is his job. For equity, it is 90%. For debentures, bonds, and notes, which are non-convertible, it is 75%. So if you're issuing a debenture, let's say you're issuing 1,000 debentures of 100 rupees each, do you need the help of underwriters if you have received application for 800 debentures which are non-convertible? Do you need underwriters' help now?
No, sir.
You don't, because your minimum subscription is 75 and you already got 80%. So you don't need the help of underwriters always, but you still have to appoint the underwriters. Can you guess why? Can anyone guess why?
We get the 75%.
Because no company can be 100% sure how many people are interested in buying their shares and debentures, right? That is why we need to always appoint an underwriter in advance. Even before you plan to issue the securities, all these people, if you are issuing shares of money, the first, if you are issuing a debenture, you appoint the debenture trust. That's the only difference. Whatever the merchant banker will do in case of shares, the same thing debenture trustee will do for debentures. So you can say debenture trustee does all the functions of the merchant banker, but whenever the company issues which security, debt, and what type of debt instrument? Convertible or non-convertible?
Non-convertible.
Whenever a non-convertible debenture, whenever non-convertible bond, whenever a non-convertible notes are issued by a company, only then you can appoint a debenture trustee. You will still need merchant banker, don't worry. But they will work together this time, because the company has to now create a trust. The trust will be created by the company. Company is the author of the trust. The company will have the debenture trustee as the trustee. And the company is creating this trust for the benefit of the debenture holders, bond holders, or note holders who are non-convertible security holders. So this trust is created only for non-convertible security holders, so that whenever the non-convertible security holders want to meet and discuss certain matters, they will not talk to the merchant banker because he is appointed before the issue. After the issue, who is going to manage the debentures, the bonds and the notes? It is the trustee. And what kind of trustee is he? He is a debenture trustee. Even though you are issuing a bond, even though you are issuing a note, you still need to appoint a debenture trustee. You can say he is the compliance officer for debenture and bond and note holders in simple terms. So all in all, Who are the 5 primary market intermediaries? What does MB stand for?
Merchant banker.
Merchant banker. What does RTA stand for?
Register and share transfer agent.
I need more people paying attention. What about BPI? Bank for issue. Who is UW?
Underwriter.
UW is underwriter and DT is
Debenture.
debenture trustee. If you are issuing an equity share, which 4 intermediaries do you need to appoint even before thinking of issuing the security?
First person.
Merchant banker, RTA, BTI and underwriter. And if you are issuing a non-convertible security, who do you have to appoint?
All 5.
You have to appoint all 5. So in summary, if you are issuing convertible securities, you appoint 4. If you are issuing non-convertible security, you appoint all the 5. And what are their individual functions? What does the merchant banker do?
Issue manager.
Okay.
To advisory services. Due diligence. Deciding the price.
Most importantly, price calculation. Okay. Which is very critical. What does the RTA do?
Issue share certificates. Credits the amount in demat account.
Credit not the amount. He credits the securities in your demat account. We are not trading yet. We are only issuing the securities as a company. No trading yet. Okay? Trading in the next class. We are only issuing the security. You just got the securities for the very first time. So registrar plays a far more important role there. There are 2 people here, registrar and who's the other person?
Share transfer agent.
Share transfer agent. Share transfer agent's role is more in the secondary market. Registrar's role is more in the primary market. Okay, what does the bank do?
Receive money on time. Receive the money.
And ensure that it is received on time. Also, what else do they do?
If there is any RTAs to decide who is going to actually get the share.
They liaise with the RTA. So whenever you're looking for a word, the word you're looking for is liaison. Interaction between intermediaries is handled by the RTA and the bank name. They are like the communicators of the issue. They will talk to everybody. Merchant banker is too powerful, so he will not attend your calls half the time. So you have to keep irritating him. He might get angry. So all that irritation part is handled by the RTA. Sending reminders, ensuring that everybody remembers the deadline. That is also the job of the RT. Bank also refunds the money. What does the underwriter do?
Ensure minimum subscription.
And how much is minimum subscription for equity and convertible securities?
For equity, it is 90%.
And convertible securities also it is 90%.
Also 90%.
And for everything else it is
75%.
Okay. And when do we appoint the debenture trustee?
Whenever we are trading with, we are issuing debentures. Non-convertible.
Bonds or notes. So guess where are we going to appoint them? We're going to appoint all of these people in the board meeting. As soon as we get the board resolution approved, the next item of agenda is going to be appointment of intermediaries. So you're not going to call 2 different board meetings. You're going to call one board meeting, and as soon as the directors agree, yes, let's go ahead with the issue. You're going to appoint all these intermediaries in the board meeting itself, and only then you will call the general. So we have learned who are the primary market intermediaries, what is the process of issue of securities under Companies Act as well as SLCM for listed companies. All right. Any questions in today's topics? As of now, any queries? What are the two forms that we need to file when we issue securities?
MGT 14 and EA 3.
What is the deadline for filing MGT 14?
Within 30 days of the resolution.
30 days of passing the resolution. And what about PS3?
30 days of allotment.
Both of this is not got to happen on the same time. They're going to happen in different timelines. So you have to be extra careful. What are the 4 types of businesses that can only be discussed in AGM?
Approval of account, declaration of dividend, appointment of directors, and then case of auditors. So
Appointment of auditors. Okay. Which auditors, which directors, how they retire by rotation, etc. They will teach you in companies. Okay. But those 4 matters are called as what business?
ordinary business.
Ordinary business. And we are discussing what business today?
Special business. Special.
And what is the nature of business that we have discussed today?
Issue of securities.
Issue of securities as well as appointment of intermediaries. Which is what kind of business?
Special business.
And what does special business require extra? What is the extra step?
Special resolution.
No, not resolution. It's on your screen.
Explanatory statement and notice of the general meeting.
Notice you will send always. Without sending notice, you cannot call a meeting. Okay?
Okay.
But if you an existing investors, why the hell are you suddenly issuing more securities, right? So that is why you need to explain them in the explanatory statement. This explanatory statement will be sent along with the notice of the meeting. Okay? And this AGM is extraordinary general meeting. AGM is annual general meeting. Annual general meeting happens only once a year. But company can issue securities whenever they feel like, right? You cannot wait till AGM to issue securities. What if suddenly company needs money for expansion? In those cases, you will have to convene EGM. EGM can only discuss special business. AGM can discuss both ordinary as well as special business. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other queries before we wrap this up? Nothing else? All right. So next class we're going to finish the first chapter for both of